I just want to go through if you have any questions in general with respect to Terraform, especially whatever we have seen so far. If not, we can go with the today's session. It will be mostly we will be mostly covering the Git part. Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay. So can you tell me why Git is required? What is the reason behind having Git as a tool? Version control. Okay.
So we can store the code. For example, you can also make the changes. I can also make the changes.
Yeah, basically for collaboration within the team, collaboration.
Distributed.
Distributed. Okay. What else? You can manage different versions of softwares. I mean, different versions of code in the same place. I mean, you can have branches. You can maintain branches, and you can see, for example, developer A is working on a particular branch. He'll make the changes in branch A, and then he'll push all the changes. He'll make all the changes. Developer B will work on it, branch B. He can work on those branches, and finally we can merge all the changes to the master. So basically, for collaboration and maintaining multiple versions of code repositories, multiple versions of code base. You want the fan? Okay. So if you look at this diagram, you can see that there is a master branch. Usually when you create a new repository, you will either get a master branch or main branch. When you create a branch, it is similar to, when I say branch, it means it is similar to your tree where you have a branch, right? From the master branch, the branch will be created, and it will have separate code changes. And then finally, after testing the changes, you can merge it to the master branch or the main branch. In GitLab, we call it as main. In GitHub, we call it as master. So overall, GitLab and GitHub are serving the same, something similar to Amazon and Flipkart. They serve the same purpose: storing the repository, managing GitLab kind of CI/CD, storing different versions of softwares, code base, and then allow you to play with the Git protocols.
Both are different companies.
Different companies, that's all.
But they do the same thing.
They do the same thing, but GitLab has so many advanced features nowadays, and it is more user friendly to use. And many companies started using GitLab rather than GitHub. Overall, what operations that you can think of? Before I go to the other slides, any operations you can think of in Git? Git push, Git pull, there are Git add, Git init. The important concept here is there is a local repo, there is a remote repo. For example, you are downloading some MP3 file from internet, right? From where you are downloading? From the internet. But once it is downloaded, say you will delete the file, right? Is the file deleted from the server? No, right? So it is just deleted from your local machine, right? Think about you worked on S3 bucket, right? S3 bucket. Say for example, you download something, or maybe you push something to the S3 bucket. Once the file is pushed to the S3 bucket, whatever you do locally, is it going to change in the S3 bucket? No, it is in the remote machine, right? Say for example, you want to make some changes, you want to add a few more lines in the same file, and you want to push it to the remote, I mean S3 bucket. Once you again put put the file in the S3 bucket, S3 copy, and then put it on the S3 bucket, what happens? The file will be changed, right? File will be updated. So local file, if you want to update it, what do you need to do? You need to push the changes to the remote repository. I mean, a remote server. The same concept will work in Git as well. There is a uh, local repository, there is a remote repository. What kind of mechanism are we going to use for pushing your changes to remote repository? Any idea? There are two ways of authentication. One is SSH, the other one is HTTPS. Since we already have SSH keys created, we'll be using only key-based authentication for GitLab as well. That's the reason why you have uploaded your SSH public key to the remote server, GitLab server. You remember what exactly I've done in the initial 1 or 2 days? Yeah, you have created your SSH key locally, and then you uploaded the SSH key into your remote machine. Not remote machine, it is a GitLab repository. GitLab repository, you went to the settings and preferences. I'll show you that just a second. So if you go to gitlab.com, you go to the preferences, you go to your profile, go to preferences, go to SSH keys, and you will see the list of SSH keys added into your repository. So if you add one more SSH key, if there were no keys, you can add one more SSH key and then keep that available for you. And whichever public key that you uploaded, the same key pair which has a private key, that key can be used, or from that machine you can do this git pull, git push, all of those commands, whichever talks to the remote repository, you can do it. This is public key. Associated private key should be in a local machine. See, for example, say if this is my private key, whatever I am highlighting, sorry, public key. That associated private key should be in my machine from where I am trying to clone the repository. Then only the public key and private key authentication will happen. There will be passwordless authentication will succeed. Then you will be able to do a git clone. In order to copy the repository, you have to go to the home page. You have to go to a particular repository and click on code, click on clone with SSH option. When you do that, the SSH link will be copied, and what you need to do is you need to go to your git bash and then do a git clone, and then copy that particular URL, and your repository will be cloned for you. So once you do a git clone, you will have a directory which is created like AWS DevOps Docker. I mean, similar to that, you will also have your repository name. That repository will be copied here. So you can see the AWS DevOps Docker file folder is already created. So you can see here. If I want to check when it was created also, I can check it out. So that is going inside. AWS DevOps Docker, it is created at 7:26 today. So basically, in order to pull the repository to your local machine, to clone the repository, what do you need to do? You need to go to your GitLab repository, go to your projects, click on the project and click on code, click on the clone with SSH option, copy that particular link, particular repository link, and then come back to your git bash, do a git clone, and do this. That's what you have done in the last class also, when you did this one. Yeah, dash main you have copied, right? This all the files you copy to another folder, right? That you did it with Git clone only. You forgot, I guess. Since it is like almost more than 4-5 days. Last week. So if you really look at it, so what you would have had was um, like this folder structure might be, yeah, it will be like this. See, you will be under home directory. It will be a home directory and export DevOps. Inside that, you will have a AWS TF VPC EC2. What you need to do is you can open this particular folder for now. I mean, maybe after 5-10 minutes, after I explain all of the basic stuff for Git, you can go to this particular folder. You can see files available like this: .git ignore, readme, and then EC2 and VPC subnet. In your repository, in your folder, you will have all these files. Kiran and Vignesh and Sanket, they are able to follow, right? Sanket?
What is this push?
Push, as usual, push will save something into your remote repository. Pull means you're just pulling the changes from the remote repository. See, you're local. See, for example, you have a Word file and you pushed something to the remote server and you are making some changes to the local file. Okay, usually there are multiple people working on it, right? Say Darshan is making some changes in the same file for the development and he pushed his changes to the remote repository and you are trying to work on the same file. What do you need to do first? You need to do a git pull first to in order to get the latest changes. So what happens is if you are working as a team and there will be different people working on the similar same projects or same files. So always what you need to do is you have to pull the latest changes and then you start working on your development.
What if you are being mixed into that?
That's what I mean. There has to be a proper collaboration between the team members. That I mean, everybody who is working on a particular thing, they'll create a new branch and start working on it. For example, if there is a change in the new branch that you created, there is one more person who is working on it. He'll have to push. If he is pushing the changes, when you come on next day, say for example, you are out for a week, you are out for 1 or 2 days. So there are some changes would have happened in the repository. What you need to do is you need to do a git pull and then start working on it. In order to update your local branch to the latest of remote, you do a git pull. when you do git push is like when you have some code changes tested, when you have some code changes which is ready for next level, then you do a git push.
Will we get any notifications like so many changes?
That you will see if you are probably subscribed to the notifications. Otherwise you can see it's a command called a git log that will show you who has done what and when. Git log is a way to find out who has done what, but it is always a best practice to do a git pull before you start working on it. It is always important to do a git pull before you start working on anything.
So next time again if we develop again we have to pull it, right?
Yeah. See, it is not always, right? See, you will know exactly what you are currently doing, either whether somebody has really worked on it. Within your team, you will have a proper communication, right? So somebody is also working on the same branch. Somebody is also working on the master branch. Somebody is working on the particular feature branch. People will get to know exactly who is working on what. Since if you are in a team, see in your current organization also, you will know some collaboration will happen for sure, right? It is not that you are completely disconnected from the team, right? At least you know, okay, so and so person is working on so and so. So like that, if you are in the DevOps team or in a development team, you will get to know what exactly other people are doing. Okay. How many of you think only developers will work on Git and no DevOps engineer? Tell me. You think only developers will work on Git, no DevOps engineer?
Maybe yes, because they'll build the code and push pull and they'll do it. So I got that.
You, Darshan. DevOps engineer will do. When? Which situation? Hey, can you give me a scenario? Uh, yeah, good example. See, thing is, you are working on automation. See, what is DevOps at a high level? Automating almost every piece of software development. So, developer will write code for only creating the application. But as a DevOps engineer, what do? You write code in Terraform to automate the infrastructure creation. When you start writing a code in Terraform, how do you manage the code? You have to use a source code management tool. For deployment, say for Ansible or maybe some other tool that you are using. For that also you will end up writing code. When somebody is writing a code, it means they have to use Git for source code management. If it is a very simple shell script also, they have to use source code management tool, that is nothing but Git, to store and retrieve repositories, to store and retrieve code, and to contribute, to collaborate with the code. Not that only one person is working on that particular change, right? Say, for example, you are working on a particular code and then you have done a lot of changes. Say you leave the company. What will happen to the code? Nobody will know exactly where the file is kept, right? If you want, you can just also delete everything and then leave, right? If you feel like, if you want to delete everything, you can delete and leave the company. And then nobody will have access, nobody will have control to regain those code, retrieve the code, right? That is why code repository or source code management is always important in the company. Not just only for developers, not just only for infra, also for DevOps. Application DevOps and monitoring operations. Every piece of work will require source code management tool. Git. Any doubts? So as soon as you start writing a very simple 4-line code also, it is always expected to use source code management tool. And you need to have some basic knowledge of Git commands. So one of the tools that we are currently using to pull the repository is SSH. Okay, I'm going to some of the basic commands. Server here I'm trying to mention again. We work on all of these stuff just to maintain a server, because end of the day, what do? We host an application, we deploy the application in the server, and we make the application accessible for the customer. That is our end goal, right? So you should always know what is a server, how the server can be accessed, what are the different layers while accessing the server, like security groups and other rules, WAF rules and things like that. There are so many things which comes in between before you access your server. But your part is maintaining, managing, running the server, deploying the server in your environments, dev, test, stage, and prod. Okay. Moving on to the basic commands of Git. You can just read. Git init will be initializing a new Git repository with a .git folder. With a .git folder will be created. If you look at it, wherever you think it is a GitLab repository or Git repository, you will have a .git folder. That will tell you exactly whether the folder in which you are working is a Git repository or a normal file system. That can be visible only by doing ls-al. A is for showing the hidden files. Git ignore, any idea what is the reason why we created git ignore? See, while you are working on your application development, there are some unwanted files. which gets created, cache or some other like Terraform state files. Some unwanted files get created when you're working on it. You usually don't want to push those files. So what you do is you put a git ignore, dot git ignore. In that you mention what are the files which are not required to be checked into the repository, which you want to really ignore when you do a git push, when you do a git add, git commit, git push. Whenever you are trying to push changes to the remote repository, it will ignore your local changes, some local changes which are not meant for maintaining or managing. You're getting right? No.
Temporary files, right?
Temporary files, temporary files, state files. Some. See, even if when you run Terraform, right? Say for example, if I go to EC2, I'll have a terraform.tf state file. I'll have a .terraform file in which all the required binaries are copied or all the plugins will be copied in this folder. That folder will be a big folder. I mean, it will contain a lot of other unwanted files, so which is meant to be stored only locally, not for remote. So that time we have to ignore. That is why we have a .git ignore .git ignore file, which ignores some of these files which are not relevant for your code repository.
It will automatically push into that folder.
You need to create a git ignore file. This file needs to be manually created. You need to know what files you want to really ignore, what files you really want to suppress. Only then you will be able to write this file, and then whenever you do a git add, git commit like this, there are some sequence of commands that you will be learning it uh, over a period of next 2 days. So when you do that, it will automatically ignore the files which are there in the particular file. Okay. Git clone is to create a repository in your local. Copy an existing repository to your local using the repository URL. Right? Git add will be staging the changes to the local first. It is called staging area. It's like, I mean, say you think about maybe you're creating a stage for maybe some program, right? It is like you're creating a stage before you push it, before you start the program. Like commit means commit is actually similar to save. Commit is similar to save, or you're ready to push the changes to the remote by a commit message. See, whenever you make some changes, you always need to have a commit message. See what exactly you're doing. You are trying to modify Terraform code to create multiple EC2 instances. You are adding count to the EC2 instances. You are adding a VPC code. You are fixing some issues related to subnet. Like that, your commit message should be there so that when somebody looks at your commit from Git log, they will understand, okay, this is for VPC and subnet and route table. This is for create VPC route table. Like that, people will get to understand what kind of changes you are doing, or you will be able to understand what kind of changes you have done in the last commit or previous commit, whichever commit that you want. Every commit will have a commit ID similar to this one, unique commit ID, which is
Once we committed, we can't change.
you can do using revert, git revert command. So git status, git status will tell you what is the current status, whether you have added the changes to the remote machine, or you are ready to push to the remote machine, or whether you don't have any changes in your local machine, local repository. So there is a local and remote. You always try to understand there is a local and remote. Local is yours, remote is the servers. Unless you push to the remote, it will be always local to you. The changes will not be saved in the remote. Git diff will show you some changes which has happened in your file. For example, say I am in this particular repository. You can see that I have changed AMI ID to ec2.id. Yesterday, I added a variable in the same main.tf file. Variable which is ec2.id, ec2 underscore id. Instead of AMI underscore id, I added new variable in the main.tf. So that it is showing in red, right? So it has been removed. Plus means it has been added. Whatever shows in minus, that is removed from the file. Whatever showing in plus and then green, that is added to the file. Like that it will be there. If I do a git add now, if I do a git add dot means from the current directory, I will add all the changes. Before that, I'll do a git status. Git status will show you what files have been changed. Whether there is any new file added, it will show as untracked. See, untracked files will be shown like this. Untracked means the new folders that are created. It is not files, it is folders. Modified means new folders, new files. Modified means existing files which are modified. Untracked means new files that are added, new folders that are added. You will slowly understand when you start doing your practical stuff. Git push will actually push all the changes to the remote repository. Till then, it will not be reflecting in your remote repository.
Push is nothing but upload.
Push is nothing but upload. Exact word, correct. Git reset, it is to make some changes into the local commit, and then you have to again push it. Git reset will be resetting to the older commit and things like that. So since you have not seen any of the basic stuff, it will be difficult to understand, but we'll see it once you probably are comfortable with git push, and we'll go for reset. Git pull, huh? Yeah. You can also go with commit ID. You can do a git reset hard or git reset soft with a commit ID. Git commit and dash dash amend will be modifying your commit message. So like that amend will see. Git pull is nothing but pulling your changes from the remote repository and merging to your local repository. Download, yeah. Download and then update. See, there are two things, right? Download and update both. Say if you just download one file from the remote repository, that will be kept as another file. But if you already have a file, if you do a git pull, that will download and then update the local file.
Don't create another.
No. Git checkout, this can be used, branch can be used to create a new branch. Git checkout can be used to create a new branch or move to a new branch. For example, I don't have a branching thing done here. If I want to create a new branch from the existing branch, if I want to see what branches I have, I can say git branch dash a. It will show the different branches available. I have only main. If I want to create a new branch, git checkout dash b new branch. I can create it like this. Now, if I do a git branch dash a, it will show that I'm currently on the new branch. Yeah, in order to create a new branch, you have to use like this. If you want to move to Git, if you want to move to main branch, you can say Git checkout main. So like that you can do it. If you want to move between different branches, you can use without the dash B option. Dash B option will create a new branch for you. Git merge is to, like I said, I mean, at the end of the day or maybe at the end of your work, you will do a merge to the remote branch. Git, some of the advantages, features of Git is like it is scalable. That means you can create how many number of repositories you can create. You want to create, you can create it, and how many number of files you want to add it, you can add it. But there are some limitations for the size of the file, depending on your subscription. If it is a free subscription, in the companies you don't have a free subscription, but you have a free version of GitLab that you are using. In that there will be some restrictions. If you upload more than 100 MB or something, it will say it is not supported. But otherwise, with respect to organizations, it is scalable. Security is all about, yeah, it will be chargeable. Security, speed, so all of these things by default it has. I mean, security means nobody can just go to the particular directory because there is a private option which is available. There is a way you can actually restrict people copying your code using uploading SSH key, uploading HTTPS token. You can create authentication token for HTTPS login. And Git is an open source protocol which is open source. So GitHub, GitLab, all are open. No. There are free versions available, right? With the free versions, you are still allowed to use. So here, if you see, workstation 1 is like kind of developer 1 working on a particular change. He'll do a commit. He'll update his local repository by doing a git pull. So it is all about, I mean, different people working on this, working on the same repository to mimic that. So the working area is your file system where you are making some changes. Store files in which files have been changed. You are in changing mode. Adding changes to the staging area, that is a git add, and it becomes a staging area. From there you have to do a commit, and then you have to push to the remote repository. Here it will be the remote repository. So from the remote repository you can see that you are getting clone. You are having a local, and then when you do a git pull, it will update here. When you do a git fetch is not like git pull. It will just pull the changes and create a new file. So it won't merge the changes to the local repository. Something similar to what you said, right? It will just download the file. Git push is all about pushing your changes, uploading your changes to the remote repository. So here also developer A, developer B, both of them will be working on maybe same repository, different branch or something like that.
So fetch and clone is almost the same, right?
Not fetch and clone or something. Fetch and pull are almost same. Clone, when you want to create a repository, you have to do a git clone. Unless you have the copy, you cannot really do a git fetch or git pull. Git fetch only works when you have a git repository already copied.
Separate one.
Yeah. Maybe git fetch will also copy. I'm not really sure. I've not done it. I've not used. I mean, not. See, some people go with git fetch. Some people will go with git pull. I go with a git pull because I always have. Maybe I'll check it out. So like this only it happens. Working directory, which is your local machine, and then staging area is like when you add your changes. When you do a git add, it becomes a staging area. After that you do a git commit, it is nothing but save. Then it from the local repo, till then it will be in the local repo. Till git commit, it will be in a local repo. After that you do a git push, that goes to the remote repo. When you do a git pull, it automatically comes and updates your local repo. When you do a git checkout or git clone, you get a working copy, working directory, the local copy. The same thing is kind of similar diagram. A repository is just a file system on your remote GitHub, GitLab, or Bitbucket. A storage space for your project. You can have documentation files, you can have architecture files, you can have your source code, you can have anything, but it will be on the remote server. When you want to really work on something, you have to do a git clone and then copy the repository to the local machine and start doing it. Commit is just a snapshot of your code at a specific point in time. So like I told you, each commit will have a commit message. Each commit will have some portion of changes. Git branch is a separate line of development where you probably start working on a particular feature. Say there is a new feature or new issue that you are trying to address, right? What you need to do is you need to create a new branch and start working on it. In that, you will make all the changes. Merges at the end, you will make a single branch. It will be a main or master. Combine everything. Remote repository is just a storage where GitHub or GitLab, wherever you are storing, that is called a remote repository. Repository. There's no limit as such, I know, because I created about 15 to 20 repositories. So usually, see, just think in terms of organization. Organization will not have any limit, even for the files. Even for files also, they'll have some limit. Say, for example, we have encountered an issue in which when we are doing regression testing, automated regression testing, the number of files, the size of the file was like more than 2 GB. The total artifacts that created from that particular execution. So it was not able to upload to the GitLab. So that even though it was a paid version, even though it was a official version in the company, but they were still not able to upload the file. There were some limits set. So usually you will have some limits for everything.
Who will set it?
The GitLab administrator. For AWS also, you will have some administrator, not the DevOps engineer. Some other people, high-level people will be there who will be managing within the organization. Or maybe outside the organization, there will be some people who will be like a consultant, third party. They will do all the configuration changes. They will do all the software-related changes. They'll do it. Even for AWS, right? You cannot create like hundreds of VPCs in your account. There will be some restrictions. So not more than 4 or 5 VPC. See, every organization will have this limit. Not more than 4 or 5 VPC will be created in an account because they don't allow usually more than 4 or 5 VPC. Similar to that, Elastic IP, everything they'll have a limit. So like that, every software that is being used in the company, they'll have a limit. So how do you create a branch? You just clone the repo using git clone and then go to that particular repository. That's a folder, right? Once you create a repo, say repo.git that you're cloning, that will be copied to your local machine. After that, what you need to do, you need to go to that particular folder in order to access the files which are there for that particular repository. You cannot access it directly from outside. So you have to do a CD, go to that repository, and then do whatever changes that you want. So if you want to create a new branch, you can say git branch new feature or git checkout minus B new feature. And then if you want to add changes, new files, new modifications, whatever you want to do, you can do a git add a dot, and then you can do a git commit, and then you can do a git push. Which one? Repo name you want to rename.
Like make some changes and make like
For that you have to. I'm not really sure whether you'll be able to do it directly. For the branch, you can do it. You can delete the branch. You are asking how to rename a particular repository from local. I'm not sure I've done it. Maybe it is possible. So just try to understand local repository exists on your own computer, while remote repository is stored on a server, allowing multiple collaborators to access and contribute to the project. That's what is remote repository. So what is commit history? Like I told you, by just running git log, you can see the history of all the commits.
when we do the declarations,
Uh,
one set of copy will be there in local machines.
it will be there always on your local machine. What is the time now? 8 o'clock. Huh? So tomorrow we'll do it online, and I'll instruct you how to do git push, git pull, git add, git clone, everything. Okay. Anything else? Any doubts?
This is a new topic for us.
So you don't need to practice it separately. You just understand the concepts. We'll do it during the course. See, this is part of our course. On a daily basis, we'll be doing it. Git add, git commit, git push, git clone, git merge, git branch, everything we'll be doing over the period of time. It is going to be there almost on a daily basis from now on. That's why I just wanted to give you a high level overview of all these commands. So just think, you have a local repository, you have a remote repository. How do you pull from there? How do you push from here? These two things, if you try to logically try to understand, it is easy. Just think only 4 commands. One is git clone. Okay, after that git add, git commit, git push. Only 4 commands. Git branch is to create a new branch and start working on it. If you create a new branch, it's again the same. Git add, git commit, git push. If you git clone. Unless you copy the repository to your local machine, you will not be able to do anything. So git clone is the first thing that you need to do. Before git clone, what you need to do, you need to upload your SS key there to create a passwordless authentication. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Clone and git push. Whenever you have some changes, you have to do a git add. After you add changes, you have to do a git commit. That is nothing but the same. Database you do, right? On the database, normally when you make some changes in the table, you do a commit to save the table. And then only you have some other option, I don't know. So, Sanket, you are asking some questions?
I have two. Maybe okay. So, do we have any permission control system in Git repo? For example, particular my repo can be accessible group A people and I want to restrict access to group B. So do we have any permissions managements, in the repo?
Yeah, it is available. See, when we say we can use SH to authenticate, right? There are ways to authorize. See, this
Okay,
person is supposed to do only this much. This person is not supposed to do anything. There will be some user management in the GitLab or GitHub.
okay,
That is again at the advanced level.
okay,
With respect to the company, with respect to organization, you will have different kind of permissions,
okay,
developers, managers. Then it will go for approval. So many different authorization levels are there.
okay. Okay. So do we have similar document for Terraform as well, like in Git? So we have described everything, right? All the commands and it describes what it is, and there are some map sites. So similarly, do you have any doc for Terraform? If that is case, can you please share with us?
I have shown you all the commands. Terraform.
Because basically we need to take notes on our record. So because
I have shown you all this, right?
okay,
See, I have your Terraform workflow. You have the different blocks.
okay, you can share with this PPT as well.
Okay. So we are running out of time. Any documents we can have.
Okay, thank you.
Slide. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Vignesh. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.